Hey everyone, I'm going to be going live here in just a few moments, so bear with me while I get some documentation ready. I want to present to you guys just some corruptness within our judicial systems. Prime example that I'm going to go over today is your right to travel. For some reason, Saginaw County, sorry about the background noise, guys. Saginaw County thinks that it's okay to infringe our rights, that they are above the law of the land. And I want to expose some of their corruptness. I've got a whole lot that I could expose, but I'm not going to. I don't have the time for, and I don't really want to bore everybody. If anybody wants to hear other things, feel free to hit me up on my channel, and I'll go over those things. Bear with me. Enjoy the music. In our yard, till the day that he died, he wanted my mother, my brother, my sister, and me to grow up and live happy in the land of the free. Now this nation that I love is falling under attack. Big mighty sucker ones came flying in from somewhere in the back. As soon as we could see clearly through our big black eye, man, we lit up your world like the 4th of July. Hey, Uncle Sam, put your name at the top of his list. And the Statue of Liberty started shaking her fist. And the eagle will fly, and it's gonna be here. When you hear Mother Freedom start ringing the bell, and it'll feel like the whole wide world is raining down on you. Property and courtesy of the red, blue. Justice will be served and the battle will rage. This big dog will fight when you rattle his cage. You'll be sorry that you messed with the U.S. of A. I'll put a boot in your ass. Liberty. And the eagle will fly, and it's gonna be hell. When you hear Mother Freedom start ringing her bell, and it'll feel like the whole wide world is raining down on you. Now I'm gonna also read this police chief, courtesy of St. Charles Township, just south of Saginaw, in between Saginaw, Michigan, and Owasso, Michigan, Chesaning, Michigan, more or less in between Chesaning and Saginaw, a little town called St. Charles. This incident that I'm going to be discussing with everybody here as an example has to do with Police Chief Julie Church. So anybody that lives in St. Charles that has seen this video, keep clear of her and her tyrants. All right, enjoy the music, guys. All right, guys, just a couple more minutes. Hey there. Somebody comment. Let me know who's on, please.
He ain't got my smile. That don't bother me.
All right, guys. So I'm sure this will get shared. I hope. Please share it. If not, hey, it's our country's loss, not my loss. I'm still going to win out of this.
It's a pledge of allegiance on the 4th of July.
All right. So back on 2/6 of 2021, I had made a travel to Shiawassee County to pick up my daughter, Peyton. Anybody that knows I have a daughter, they know I got a daughter named Peyton. I went out there to pick her up. The mom let me have her for a weekend visit. It's been a long time, long overdue. Dad loves you, baby girl. It's not your fault. During the traveling from Shiawassee County to Saginaw County, I had came into 1 second, guys. Sorry, guys. Bella wanted it. You want to say hi, Bella? Come here. Say hi, Bella. Hi. Gosh. So I came into town, busted me a left turn. It was a 4-way, 3-way, whatever you want to call it, blinking lights. Made my left turn. Upon making my left turn, Julie Church decided she was going to flag her red and blues on me, instruct me to pull over. Upon being pulled over, I had pulled out my cell phone for recording purposes. Now, in her police report, she goes into saying that upon commencing the traffic stop, guys, this is her words, not mine. I'm sorry if you can't really tell. Right there, this is official police documents. She goes into saying a bunch of lies. Sum it all up, it's a bunch of due process violations. She had no probable cause to pull me over. During this month of February, the executive order was placed on local law enforcement agencies to not solely base a traffic stop based on a person not having license plates due to the, as everyone knows, COVID-19 pandemic. Secretary of State was shut down. When they reopened, they got booked with appointments. So here we go. Traffic stop. While I, Officer Julie M. Church, was on duty patrolling West Bell Ave, northbound in St. Charles, I observed a black Chevrolet Monte Carlo with no license plate. Now that's a lie, guys. She was not driving. She was legally parked. She says that she followed the vehicle north to the stoplight at Saginaw Street. The vehicle turned left, continuing north on Saginaw Street. I turned behind the vehicle and after traveling approximately 2 blocks, initiated a traffic stop. I'll be right back, guys. One moment. All right. I'm back. Where was I? Let me get some music going. Helps me focus. I'm just letting everybody on Facebook know that I'm on YouTube Live, guys. Sorry, I'm unorganized. My first time. Speaking of what we're talking about, Tom McDonald. Shout out to Tom McDonald, guys. Politician. You think taking guns away will save our kids from the killings? But your pro-choice abortion kills way more children. If America's so terrible and racist, you're probably safe to encourage immigration. Sorry, you gotta just jam out to him, guys. Long story short, she goes into saying that upon the traffic stop, she properly identified herself, which I've got video footage that states otherwise. So her credibility in her police report goes down to slim to none. It's a lot to say, and I'm just trying to think of the words to use to make it understandable for the people. If no one's ever heard of the Black Law Dictionary, please check it out. It's what this government's based off of. It's a law of the land terminology that, like a driver per se, everybody thinks that because you're in a car, you're driving, or you're behind the wheel of a electric moped and you're going down the sidewalk and they state that you're driving on the sidewalk. That's false. False information, guys. That's not driving. Driving is, which I'll get into that and I'll read off the legal terminology according to the U.S. Supreme Court of what driving is. Long story short, let me just kind of fast forward a little bit. So yes, I got arrested. Supposedly I had a suspended license. Supposedly I had no insurance on my motor vehicle. Besides the point, I got arrested for traveling. And you will notice I will never say that I was driving because I was not being compensated for that travel. I was not earning money. I was transporting my personal property as well myself and my minor children. All right, so yes, I got pulled over. Whoop-de-doo. Now, anybody that's following this case in Saginaw, a few weeks ago, I had went live, or I was not live. I was on a Zoom hearing with Terry L. Clark out of Saginaw County District Court, guys. And Mr. Terry Clark feels that he is above the law. He feels that because he has government immunity, he can do what he wants. It's his courthouse. This is his county. Well, Mr. Clark, it's not your county. The big dog is back. The big dog is here to bring the little dog out to fight. I'm going to bring you down. I'm going to bring down your prosecuting attorney's office, Dylan Kurt, John McGolgan, and everybody else in that fucking office that does not believe in constitutional rights, that does not believe in their oath that they swore to uphold, whether it's domestic or foreign terrorist enemies. Well, I have a due diligence to protect my liberties and everybody around me. So please, people, listen to what I'm saying here. I went in for a Zoom hearing. And during that Zoom hearing, I had brought up many factual arguments against the state of Michigan prosecuting attorney's office. One being that we had a settlement conference And they, I fired my attorney. They wanted to meet up and see if there was any kind of resolution for these charges. So the original charges being a DWLS, which stands for driving on a suspended license, which is also MCL 257.904, paragraph 3, subsection A, and 257.9041, paragraph B. They here state that Kerry James Cosgrove, late of the county of Saginaw, state of Michigan, did operate a motor vehicle upon Saginaw Street, a highway, while his or her operator's license was suspended or revoked. False. I traveled. Ding, 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 ding. Then I tell the judge that Dylan Kirk, the prosecutor, had heard a phone call conversation with State Farm in Lansing, Michigan. Chance Malin State Farm, guys. Stay away from them. Everyone, stay away from them. They don't know the meaning of Privacy Act. Anybody that's not sure what the Privacy Act is, Google it. I really pressure you to Google Privacy Act. Dylan Kirk, also being familiar with the law, supposedly went to school with it, blah, blah, blah. It's just a bunch of smoke that they blow up our community's asses. We're trained. We're qualified. Well, apparently not, Mr. Kirk. You reached out and went behind my back, the state's back, and Emily Suchek's back. Y'all obtained her insurance information. This was provided to the prosecuting attorney's office. Proof of insurance given by State Farm. And it states that effective date was February 1st. Expiration was August 9th, guys. So with that being said, how can they charge me for no insurance? Their charge of basically failure to have security on a automobile. That's what I think they put it down as. I'll get a little bit more organized here in a minute. Bear with me. This is just kind of the introduction of where I'm going with this stuff. So back to the Terry Clark's Zoom meeting. He told me that I cannot. You're funny. That I cannot stop him from calling. That I cannot call Dylan Kirk as an eyewitness to a trial that is going to be taking place in this matter. So, any Saginaw County residents, please come to this trial. I want to bombard their courthouse. And then my goal is to bombard every other courthouse. My goal will be to investigate into the circle of corruptness and see how many other people are unlawfully confined for driving rights. And it's not a privilege, it's a right. So the prosecuting attorney's office had filed a motion asking that, I'll just read it to you. Order for defendant to produce a witness list to stop defendant from calling prosecution as a witness and for defendant to appear in person at future proceedings. Judge Clark ordered this. This matter having come before the court upon motion by the people and the court otherwise being fully advised in the premises. Now the people, keyword everybody, let me break this down. The court just falsified a document. We'll get into that. But they falsified it because they state that a motion by the people. Now, the courts are designed to speak on behalf of the people, but they don't bring everything to light for the people. They only publicize cases they feel the people should know about. Now, me personally, I want to know if the person next door to me broke into my neighbor's house. I want to know if they have a history of breaking into anybody's houses. I should have the right to know that stuff. If you're charging him, show us the evidence. He also ordered, it is hereby ordered that the defendant provide a list of witnesses he intends to call at trial to the prosecution. Fair enough. I'll give him that, and I did submit that. It is hereby further ordered that the defendant is stopped from calling Dylan M. Kirk as a witness at trial. Now, guys, everybody knows it's the prosecutor's job to find you guilty. How can you find somebody guilty of traveling, which is the main thing? How can you find somebody guilty of driving on a suspended license if his driving record shows that he was not suspended? It was a clerical mistake. How can you charge somebody for not having security on a motor vehicle based off the fact that most things are electronically emailed now? And the fact that my policy was only 2 days old, there was no way for me to receive paper ID cards in the mail. So I'm not supposed to travel, is what they're saying, without that stuff. I didn't have service. I was unable to show the cop the proof at the time of the unlawful traffic stop. So later on, I had provided the proof to the prosecutor's office, which at this point, the burden of proof shows that there is no legal charges to be brought against me. However, Dylan Kirk had gotten his confirmation that my insurance was effective at the time of the initial traffic stop through Chance Malin State Farm Agency in Lansing, who are the people that provided certificate of insurance, guys. Right there. There's one copy that they had that was blown up for them because I don't think they can read. Then I have another copy that Dylan Kirk gave me with his handwriting down here. This is his handwriting. This is when they breached the privacy laws by reaching out to them to validate without consent from Emily or a court order. What else? So him being told that there was insurance, he should have dismissed charges. That would have been the lawful thing. So at this point, they're maliciously prosecuting me. And everybody, the phone number for Chance Malin State Farm, if anybody wants to call and tell them, hey, I want to cancel my policy, or call and just tell them that they're wrong for what they're doing. Chance Malin, ChanceMeylan. Phone number is 517-393-4676. So basically, I have to tell the judge, you don't have the authority to do what you're doing to me. He didn't like that. And now he's trying to hold me in contempt of court for expressing, under my First Amendment, expressing my feelings, exercising my right to freedom of speech. And I'll kind of break it down for you in some other videos when I'm a little bit more organized. I'm just kind of testing this out, guys. I'm clearly spaced, and I apologize. I know a lot of people that don't know me might watch this video for the first time through a share. It's like, damn, this dude's a complete bug. No, I just got a lot that goes through my head. I do a lot of studying. This is a federal lawsuit here against a local agency in Shiawassee County, police officers. Saginaw County prosecutors, their file against me, my file against them. I've got another lawsuit that I'm getting ready to file for a constitutional violation against State Farm. I'm also going to be filing another one against this county in federal court for violation of my civil liberties. But all right, let's jump up a little bit. So yeah, he's trying to hold me in contempt of court. I've got to appear in Saginaw County October 18th at 1:30 p.m. and go plead my contempt of court case to him. More than likely, he's not going to let me talk. He's already demonstrated that the abuse of authority that he has. And I feel like a lot of this is retaliatory due to the fact, if I'm mistaken, I apologize. But if I'm not, well, Clark, I'm coming after you. You're a prejudiced fuck. Biased, hypocritical, and just a piece of scum. Yes, I said that about a district court judge. Sue me. My video went viral from the Zoom hearing. By 11 o'clock the next morning, they had removed my video. Only my video. Just fuck this county, guys. So there's a good chance Clark's going to lock me up. Based on the fact he's not going to like what I got to say with laws. He's got no legal jurisdiction over me at this point, as I have broken no crimes, no laws, no constitutional violations. I've done nothing at all in the slightest form of being illegal, and they're trying to prosecute me. I exercised my right to travel. I was posing no threat to anybody on the roadway or myself or anybody in the car. So, with said, I'm going to go ahead and find this article while this song is playing, and I'm going to read some stuff off from the U.S. Supreme Court that Justice Tolman wrote, Supreme Court judge. Set up shop on some city, go be up at the market. Say you want to sell me a record more, you better listen to me. He said, change your style, whiten your smile, you can lose a couple of pounds. If you want to live this life, you better lose that wife. Do you need your friends around? I said, no, that's not me. Let's see if I can share this. Bear with me, everybody. I'm kind of just trying to figure out how to add people. All right. Now I'm going to go into reading. Now I grew up So this is driver's licensing versus the right to travel. It goes into talking about manual on uniform traffic control devices. This manual is the standard for compliance for all 50 states for the posting of signs. Signs failing to comply with the guide are deemed not to exist and have no force and effect of law. In other words, if the sign does not comply, it does not exist, and there is no law in effect making the summons null and void. Kind of irrelevant. Brief for the right to drive. This case, Washington versus Port. Again, guys, Washington versus Port. Google it. Read it. Learn it. Sleep by it. And details how the case for the right to drive can be won. Port lost the case because of her error in admitting the state had a right. Read the case and you will soon see how she could easily have won her case. She actually had won the case until she had said the wrong thing. And the wrong thing is you never admit to driving. You're not driving a motor vehicle. All right. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I just got to, guys. The following argument has been used in at least 3 states, Pennsylvania, Ohio, and West Virginia, as a legal brief to support a demand for dismissal of charges of driving without a license. It is the argument that was the reason for the charges to be dropped or for a win in court against the argument that free people can have their right to travel regulated by their servants. These arguments can be used in nearly any state against the state trying to deny a driver's right to travel. This forgotten legal maxim is that free people have the right to travel on the roads, which are provided by their servants for that purpose. Using ordinary transportation of the day, licensing cannot be required of free people. Because taking on the restrictions of a license requires the surrender of a right. The driver's license can be required of people who use the highways for trade, commerce, or hire. Did everybody hear what I just said there? Licensing cannot be required of free people because taking on the restrictions of a license requires the surrender of a right. So when you go get your driver's license, you're surrendering your right to travel. You want to say hi, Kaden? Hi. Everybody say hi to little mini me. Say hi.
Hi.
Hi. And my birthday's coming. I'll be 3. All right, you gotta go. Daddy's working. You can stand here if you want to listen. The surrender of a right. The driver's license can be required of people who use the highways for trade, commerce, or hire. That is, if they earn their living on the road and if they use extraordinary machines on the road. If you are not using the highways for profit, you cannot be required to have a driver's license. Right here from the Supreme Court, guys. Law of the land. There's no disputing that. Kaden, stop. Brief in support of notice for dismissal for lack of jurisdiction. Earlier, you guys heard me state that they have no jurisdiction over me, no legal grounds over me. I'm a free individual. I am not owned by this corrupt, evil, sick, twisted, perverted elites government. I will bring you down. I will expose you guys anytime I get the proof. Here's an argument that a judge wrote. If ever a judge understood the public's right to use the public roads, it was Justice Tolman of the Supreme Court of the state of Washington. Justice Tolman states as follows. Complete freedom of the highways is so old and well established, a blessing that we have forgotten the days of robber barons and toll roads. And yet, under an act like this, arbitrarily administered, the highways may be completely monopolized if through lack of interest, the people submit. Yes, us. We have to submit to allow them to keep getting away with this. Then they may look to see the most sacred of their liberties taken from them one by more or less rapid encroachments. All right. So now we know we have the right to travel. What about the right to bear arms? The words of Justice Tolman ring most prophetically in the ears of citizens throughout the country today, as the use of public roads have been monopolized by the very entity which have been empowered to stand guard over our freedom, that of the state government. The most sacred liberties of which Justice Tolman spoke was personal liberty. The definition of personal liberty is personal liberty, or the right to enjoyment of life and liberty, is one of the fundamental of natural rights, which has been protected by its inclusion as a guaranteed in the various constitutions, which is not derived from or dependent on the U.S. Constitution, which may not be submitted to a vote and may not depend on the outcome of an election. And then we're going to go into, like I stated, well, you know what? Let me read you another little article from Justice Tolman. This is Bouvier's Law Dictionary, 1914 ed. Black's Law Dictionary, 5th edition, Blackstone's Commentary, page 777. Justice Tolman was concerned about the state prohibiting the citizens from the most sacred of his liberties, the right of movement. The right of moving oneself from place to place without threat of imprisonment, the right to use public roads in the ordinary course of life. When the state allows the formation of corporation, it may control its creation by establishing guidelines, statutes for its operation, charters. Corporations who use the roads in course of business do not use the roads in an ordinary course of life. So trucking companies, delivery services for fast food, Uber, Grubhub, dealerships, mechanic shops, truck drivers, home health care. If you're on the clock, meaning 8 to 5, 5 to 10, 5 to midnight, whatever your hours may be, while you're under employment status, you are required to use your driver's license. I hate to tell you. You do have to have it for that. All right. There is a difference between a corporation and an individual. Hopefully I can clarify better than what I stated. The United States Supreme Court has stated as follows. We are the opinion that there is a clear distinction in the particular between an individual. Sorry, guys, We are the opinion that there is a clear distinction in this particular between an individual and a corporation, and that the latter has no right to refuse to submit its books and papers for examination on the suit of the state. The individual may stand up upon his constitutional rights as a citizen. He is entitled to carry on his private business in his own way. His power to contract is unlimited. He owes no duty to the state or to its neighbors to divulge his business or to open his doors to investigation. So when she pulled me over, I need your license, registration, and proof of insurance, please. Fuck you, Julie Church. Fuck you, you stupid bitch. There. I hope I made it clear. I hope to God you and Terry Clark are watching this someday. His power to contract is unlimited. He owes no duty to the state or his neighbors to divulge his business or open his doors to investigation so far as it may tend to incriminate him. He owes no such duty to the state, since he receives nothing therefrom beyond the protection of his life, liberty, and property. His rights are such as the law of the land, long antecedent of the organization of the state. It can only be taken from him by due process of law in accordance with the Constitution. Among his rights are the refusal to incriminate himself and the immunity of himself and his property from arrest or seizure except under warrant of law. So like when they impounded my car, they illegally took my car, stole it from me. He owes nothing to the public so long as he does not trespass upon their rights. Think on that, guys. Upon the other hand, the corporation is a creature of the state. It is presumed to be incorporated for the benefit of the public. It receives certain special privileges and franchises and holds them subject to the laws of the state and limitations of its charter. Its rights to act as a corporation are only preserved to it so long as it obeys the laws of the creation. Okay. There is a reserved right in legislation to investigate its contracts and find out whether it has exceeded its powers. It would be a strange anomaly to hold that the state, having chartered a corporation to make use of certain franchises, could not in exercise of its sovereignty inquire how those franchises have been employed and whether they have been abused and demand the production of corporate books and papers for that purpose. Hale versus Hinkle, 201 U.S. 43, 74 and 75. Corporations engaged in mercantile equity fall under the purview of the states and merely jurisdiction, and the public at large must be protected from their activities, as the corporations are engaged in business for profit. Based upon the fundamental ground that the sovereign state has plenary, it's spelt, guys, Plenary, control of the streets and highways and the exercise of its police power, police power, may absolutely prohibit the use of streets as a place for prosecution of a private business for gain. They all recognize the fundamental distinction between the ordinary right of the citizen to use the streets in the usual way and the use of streets as a place of business or a main instrumentality of business for private gain. The former is a common right, the latter is an extraordinary use. As to the former, the legislative power is confined to regulation. As to the latter, it is plenary and extends even to absolute prohibition. The claim and exercise of a constitutional right cannot be converted into a crime. And that is Miller versus U.S. Supreme Court. Let me scroll down and find the definitions of driving and traveling for you, please. All right, definitions. In order to understand the correct application of the statute in question, we must first define the terms used in connection with this point of law. As will be shown, many terms used today do not in their legal context mean what they assume they mean. Like I had said earlier, I'm not even going to go into that. Automobile and motor vehicle. There is a clear distinction between an automobile and a motor vehicle. An automobile has been defined as the word automobile connotes a pleasure vehicle designed for transportation of persons on the highway. American Mutual Liberty Insurance Company versus Chaput. While the distinction is made clear between the two, as the courts have stated, a motor vehicle or an automobile for hire is a motor vehicle, other than an automobile stage used for transportation of persons for which is received. The term motor vehicle is different and broader than the word automobile. City of Dayton versus DeBrosse. The distinction is made very clear in Title 18 USC 31. Motor vehicle, right here, guys. Those are the definitions that I'm reading from the Supreme Court, law of the land. Motor vehicle means every description or other contrivance propelled or drawn by mechanical power and used for commercial purposes on the highways and transportation of passengers and property. Used for commercial purpose means the carriage of a person or property for any fare, fee, rate, charge, or any considerations, or directly or indirectly in connection with any business or other undertaking intended for profit. Travel. The term travel is a significant term as defined as the term travel and traveler are usually construed in their broad and general sense, so as to include all those who rightfully use the highways vehically when being reimbursed for expenses and who have occasion to pass over them from the purpose of business, convenience, and pleasure. Traveler, one who passes from place to place, whether for pleasure, instruction, business, or health. Travel, to journey or pass through or over as a country district road, to go from one place to another, whether on foot or horseback or any convenience as a train, an automobile, carriage, ship, aircraft, make a journey. Therefore, the term travel or traveler refers to one who uses the convenience to go from one place to another, and included all those who use the highways as a matter of right. It's not a privilege, guys. The state says it's a privilege, but that's because they're lying. They're violating, I believe, your Fifth Amendment or Sixth Amendment for due process. Thereof, the term travel or traveler refuses to one who uses. Notice that on all these definitions, the phrase for hire never occurs. This term travel or traveler implies by definition one who uses the road as means to move from place to another. Driver. Here's the definition of a driver. This is what the state uses to convict people. The term driver is a contradiction to traveler as defined. Driver, one employed in conducting a coach, carriage, wagon, or other vehicle. Bouvier's Law Dictionary, 1914 edition, page 940. Notice that this definition includes one who is employed in conducting a vehicle. It should be self-evident that this individual could not be traveling on a journey, but is using the road as a place of business. Now, Saginaw County nor the state of Michigan have been able to prove that at the time of my traffic stop, I was using the public roadway for a place of business. So until they can prove that, they have no jurisdiction over me. I am a free individual. I do not have to go by their laws. If their laws are hindering or infringing my constitutional rights. With that said, I think I'm going to cut this one, and I'm going to do another brief video pertaining to Shiawassee County law enforcement agencies. I'm going to give a kind of a brief rundown on that. Basically, it was an unlawful arrest. I was on private property. So they added some bogus things to it to fabricate the report to try to find some jurisdictional things to hold me on. Needless to say, I beat the charges. They were trying to give me a resisting arrest and public intoxication, even though I was on private property. Damn, where do our tax-paying money goes? Like, higher corruptness, I guess. But that's just something there that I want to raise, and I wanted the people to know and hear straight up, read from court cases, hundreds of different court cases where I read that from. So if anybody ever has questions, you can feel free to hit me up on Facebook, or I will provide my cell number. And if anybody ever has any questions when it comes to their legal rights, if they feel that their attorney is infringing their rights and not affecting them or representing them effectively, feel free to reach out to me, guys. I'm here to advocate. I'm here to step up for the people. I've been looking into maybe running for the state senate, Congress, maybe even mayor. I've been doing a lot of research. The first thing I need to do is get out there, get known, hire me a team that believes in my way. Well, not even hire. Like, I'm going to do a nonprofit run for campaign. So if anybody is willing to help support me, I'm not worried about doing all the extra political BS that they tell you got to do. It's up to we the people who we elect. It's who we elect is who is going to enforce our rights. So if we keep going with the people we're going with, people, I hate to say this, in the next 50 years, life as we know it will be over. That means when my son turns 45 years old, life could be over. Technology is moving too fast. Technology is killing us off. The elites, the Freemasons, people, do your research, man. This isn't about the COVID-19 mask. This isn't why I'm doing it. This isn't about kids going to school and having to be vaccinated. This isn't about kids having to wear masks. This isn't about grown-ups having to wear masks. This only has to do with, on this video, people's right to travel. All this money you guys are paying to the state unlawfully. They're stealing your money, people. They're making you pay for plates for personal use. They're making you pay for tags for personal use, not business commercial use. They're making you pay for all sorts of hidden fees. For what? Where's that money going? Saginaw, I apparently just got a $50 million grant for the pandemic. For what? For school teachers? Hazard pay? $50 million? For what, guys? Has anybody got any other questions regarding the driver's licenses? All right, I'm going to end this one. Hopefully, as I get better, guys, I can be a little bit more organized. I do have ADHD. It sucks, but my intentions are good. And I want to see we the people stand up for our rights. All over the country, we have movement groups for these masks. Fuck the mask. If an individual wants to go and be forced in order to have a job, you've got to be vaccinated. In order to travel in airplanes, you have to be vaccinated. I just read our right to freedom of travel with no type of infringements that can be put against us. So them telling you can't use the sky to travel without being vaccinated is bullshit. Any way you look at it. To travel on a Greyhound bus, they want to see your vaccination cards. Violates HIPAA laws. Violates your constitutional rights. I'm frustrated, guys. Like, I get deep into this. I'm very passionate when it comes to our rights. I'm an individual who does not ask for anything more than what I'm entitled to as a U.S. citizen. I want nothing more, nothing less. I want only and only what I'm entitled to. Ain't that right, Bellas? Come on. Even Bella says, so I just want what I'm entitled to as a U.S. puppy. All right, well, I'm going to end this video, and I'm going to go into the police brutality case that I have pending. That one's a little bit more interesting, a little less scattered. But watch out for me. I plan on doing more videos. I plan on doing further updates on this Saginaw County corruptness. But it's not just Saginaw, guys. It's Osceola. It's Gratiot. It's Clinton. It's Genesee. It's Adrian. It's Lansing, Ingham, Shiawassee County, every fucking county in the state of Michigan, people. So anybody that sees this, please send this video and let them know that roughly the last 25 minutes of this video is the best part, the key part. If anybody wants articles from what I read, shoot me a text, 989-220-9537. I'll gladly talk to you and try to answer questions. No, I'm not a licensed attorney. My belief about that is, well, it's the legal way to rob somebody's money. You know, you go in, you pay $5,000, you get your license reinstated. You may be present for a couple of the hearings. You may not be present for the couple of the hearings. Next thing you know, hey, you got your fucking license back. They never had the right to take your license. They never have the right to stop you from traveling. So I hope everybody listened to what I had to say here. Do your research. Google it. Supreme Court cases, driving with no license. Simple. Just do your research. Yeah, you're going to find certain websites that tell you you can't do that. You have to have a driver's license. And that is today's society mind tricking you to make you think that you do have to have a license. But you don't. I love you, America.